Hello and welcome to episode 45 of our Conversation to Connect. Let's Get Real Talk, powered by Exceptional Connections. I'm Cyndi ONeill-Dady, the founder and chief connector of Exceptional Connections since 2009. That's August of 2009. So we just celebrated our 13th anniversary. At Exceptional Connections, we offer intentional and innovative solutions to boost your business. And each month we nominate a different member of our community to be able to have a meaningful conversation with. So be sure to make yourself comfortable with a cup of tea. I've got water here because it's going to be a hot one, or a beverage of your choice. And be sure to take notes and add comments to the chat box during this engaging talk. And we're going to be around the 45-minute mark, unmuting the lines and inviting our listeners to ask questions, share their epiphanies, their ahas, and of course, enter into our thought-provoking conversation. So the inspiration of our bi-weekly Conversations to Connect, Let's Get Real Talks, is to create purposeful conversations. We desire to be relevant during these challenging and uncertain times, and to support our community to make an impact in the world and of course, stay connected. So as we get started, I invite you to set aside distractions and invest your attention in the conversation that's about to unfold. I want you to look for just one idea that you can take away and put into action so that you don't cheat yourself out of the time that you've invested here. So our Conversation to Connect this week is with Lisa Fischer from Renton, Washington. Welcome, Lisa.
Hello, Cyndi. So excited to be here with you.
Oh my goodness.
Ladies.
We're going to have so much fun. Lisa was our spotlight speaker at our August 9th Exceptional Connections event. She helped us to launch our first event in 28 months. We had gone virtual during that time. And thank you for doing so graciously. And you gave our community so much to think about. So this is going to be a little bit of a deeper dive. Lisa and I are going to be talking about Start Strong, laying the foundation for how you want to show up in life. And so before we get going into this intriguing conversation, I want to take a moment to introduce Lisa to our listeners. A lot of the gals that are on right now know Lisa, but for those who don't, I want to make sure, give you some background. So Lisa loves to share her passion for helping women feel confident in their visual appearance and have tools and resources to support them. Mm-hmm. So Lisa Fischer, founder of Lisa Fischer Styling and the creator of Image Strong, is a certified personal wardrobe stylist, speaker, and author with over 20 years in the image industry. Image Strong consists of customized life skills services designed to help women feel smart, knowledgeable, and successful when it comes to building image and appearance confidence, knowing what to wear, where to buy it, how to put it all together. That's a lot. It's part of Lisa's core components of personalized services that we all need, right? Right, ladies? Mm-hmm. So women hire Lisa who want grab and go outfits created for them, along with an organized closet and roadmap for seasonal basics. Never again feel I have nothing to wear. Instead, begin a roadmap to successful living life image strong. And I love this Proverbs 31:25 that she shares. She is clothed with strength and dignity. She laughs without fear of the future. So Lisa, thank you so much for joining us. This is so much fun. I'm really looking forward to having our conversation unfold today. And why don't you start off by sharing a little bit more about your journey with our listeners?
So love it. I do have to pause, if I may, if that's okay, and say that I feel like sometimes when we might hear a bio like that of, the this and the that of image and, sounds like, some mastery in there, that there's a tendency to kind of think, oh, who is this person and who am I? And like this spirit of like almost comparison can like sneakily come in there, right? And I just want to say that, this is really about, gals, how do we have more ease and peace in our life, right? And really invite in this spirit of contentment that I am good. And so if there's areas that feel that we really do need some help or some assistance or some support, that it is there. And that's what we're going to talk about really in this conversation, is how do I really identify those areas, and then what's really my first step. So I appreciate everything that you really did share, Cyndi. But this conversation is going to be about really how in our life, whatever we're doing, wherever we're at in the world, how can we find more ease and peace when it comes to our image, right?
Right.
And how we show up every day. So
No, and I agree with you. And this is Conversation to Connect. Let's
yes.
get real. So it's really about what are the common things that we as women go through, we struggle with, and we can support each other with. And it's so lovely to have you be able to share, because you've had a journey that can inspire all of us. You didn't start off just having it all together, right? And so share with our listeners a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, I think if I had to, give one or two words about my journey, it would be, I was that girl that was always embarrassed, and seemed to not know what I was doing, because how, my family of origin, I was birthed into a family that my mom and dad were divorced. I was an only child, and my mom was transient at the time, and we were living in different homes, different couches, and it was just like there wasn't that sure-footedness. I wasn't birthed into this, right, this security and this tradition of how we do things. We were kind of on the run, if you will. But being an infant and then a toddler, you just kind of go with the flow. But yet I had really well-meaning individuals in my life, grandmothers and aunts and neighbors who would deposit some life skills along the way, especially, as we're young. And, I mean, if you didn't have someone in your life that helped you to say, this is what you wear to this occasion, and here's what not to wear, and here's why, where do we learn these things? And if it's not taught in your school system, like home ec, did anyone have home ec? I mean, do you know what I mean? If we didn't have that, and then it's not taught in our job or our college, where do we learn it? And today we have Google, and we have, YouTube. But even then, do we really know where we're getting our information, and what is it built upon? Are we being sold to, or is it really about life skills? And so that is why I do what I do, because I can remember being, Cyndi, the little girl sitting on my mom's bed, watching her get ready to go on a date, let's say. I literally can remember being 8 years old, and I'm kind of excited. I just watched her put on her eyeliner like this. If this was a Maybelline black eyeliner, she just lit it with a match, so it's all soft. You know how you did, right? And she would stand in front of the mirror drawing this really slick, black, beautiful eyeliner. And I would watch this. And then she'd go into her bedroom, and I'd watch her get dressed, and I'm sitting there cross-legged, all excited. And then that's when the thing happened, when she would put something on, she's looking in the mirror, and then the words just started, like, oh my gosh, I'm so this, I look to, fill in the gaps. And she would start throwing clothes off of her and then trying to put stuff on. And she would end up like leaving the home in disgust. And that's how I watched my mom live her life, like totally out of discontent and frustration. And I knew then that, what, here's this beautiful woman, but she just doesn't see herself that way. And nothing could ever satisfy her. And I saw it and I witnessed it as a young person. And somewhere along the way, I developed like, somehow, some way, I want to be involved with women. And if I can make a difference, then that's what I want to do. Does that make sense?
Yes. And what I love about your, just being transparent and sharing your story is it's really about the inside out, right?
I
because
think
it's
so.
the, it's the things we think about ourselves that we say that affect how we show up in the world. And, I don't know, that's what it feels like to me, is that you're really wanting to make a difference in how people feel, not just how they look.
Totally. And, so for example, I'm growing up, I think you have an idea of, maybe how I grew up, but my first job, I was fired. I was 17 and I was fired due to probably one of the most embarrassing things anyone could get fired from, especially a woman. But I got fired due to excessive body odor. And how embarrassing. I mean, just think about it. Really? Couldn't I have been fired because I came in late or something like that? But leaving going, oh my gosh. And then so what's the lie? The lie is what's wrong with me? I am there is something wrong with me. I will never get it. I will never be enough. And then where do you go at that tender age to go try and find or seek help? Who do you really talk to? Like, really, if you don't already have that built into your family. Um, and so it was always like just trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? I mean, can y'all ladies, can y'all remember your buying your first bra? Think back to that time, like your first bra. How did you do it? Did someone go with you? Were you alone? Was it in a box and you just guessed on your size and you kind of threw it on the counter at Sears and then you paid $10 and you walked away and then you had it for, I mean, we all have these stories. And I think with these stories, somehow different little lies get attached to us of what we are or what we aren't. And if we didn't have someone to speak into our life to build us up, we sort of have this residue that comes with us into adulthood. And I just want to be a stand for women who are like, you know what, I really want to visit this subject and I want to be that sure-footed woman who knows how to make decisions based on some knowledge, and I want to develop my life skills. That's where I feel that's the secret sauce of what I feel like this is about.
I love that phrase that you use, sure-footed woman, because it's, we're standing, we're confident in who, in your own skin. I love that. And, speaking to home ec, gosh, they need that in schools nowadays, don't they? Because
Right.
it doesn't, I had a mom who taught me how to sew and different things, but I learned so many skills and cook, we bake cookies and help make dinner and all that kind of stuff. But still, there were a lot of things that I learned in that setting. And then to do it with your classmates and to be able to have the confidence to have your own household. And anyway, I'm an advocate for that too. So, so Lisa, how did you get into the image business?
Yeah, this is so great. Great question. Is oftentimes people will assume, okay, you got in the image business because you're obsessed with makeup, you love shopping, or you grew up in a certain household. And so this is just second nature. And actually, all of that it could not be farther from the truth. I got into the image business out of 100% desperation. I didn't even know the image business was a thing. But when my kids were three children, when they were 5, 3, and 1, I believe, I saw a flyer for an all-day social savvy skills class, and it was being presented by a finishing school. And my grandparents had sent me to modeling school when I was 16. I think they just felt really sorry for me and were like, maybe this can help. And so I went to this all day program just for women, and I fell in love with the concepts. And I was like, where's this been all my life? And it wasn't this strong list of do's and don'ts and you're bad or you're good. It was life skills about how to develop a sense of confidence and how to treat others and how you wanted to be treated and valued and how do you want to show the world how you want to be valued. And I was like, yes, please. Yes. And so after that full day in this program, I approached the instructor, finding out that this was her business and it was her like similar interest. And she said, and I asked her if I could volunteer to bring some of the information to my kids' school, perhaps. And she said, I actually would love to mentor you because I'm relocating to Texas, and I would love to mentor you and groom you to consider being the Washington State instructor. And that
Wow.
began a 12-year career.
Oh my goodness. I
And
had
that,
never heard that part of your story, Lisa. I love that.
it was
That is such a God thing. Oh my gosh.
it was such a God thing. And so as I was teaching youth and children, I grew, as a 35-year-old woman, then I learned right along with the kids that I taught. So it was really just that. It was a God thing.
Well, and in teaching people things, anybody, if this resonates with anybody, mention it in the chat box. But, when you teach, you only need to be that far ahead of your students, right? I homeschooled my kids, and there's some subjects that I'm like, okay, pull out the books. But, everybody's a winner. And so that's a beautiful story. I love that. And life skills are important, really to be able to, because we don't always get them in our, in the home that we were raised in, or the environment of our family. And so to be able to instill good life skills that people can take and really be able to master, internalize, and share with others is a beautiful thing. So who do you serve, Lisa, and why? Who's your ideal client, or people that you love to be able to make a difference in their lives?
Sure. Well, the first 12 years in working with Deborah King, who was my mentor with in her business is Final Touch Finishing School. So for those 12 years, it was youth and children. And then that was teens, and then it was young adults. And that was, etiquette, manners, protocol, global protocol. And then as my kids then graduated from high school, parents who would bring their children to these programs were like, the moms, would pull me aside and say, do you have anything for me? I'm now an empty nester, or I'm retiring, or I'm divorced and now single. There was dramatic life changes in these women's lives, and they were wanting someone to come alongside of them. And I would say, I could as a girlfriend, but yet I feel like I need some more certification or something. So I went back to school and transitioned then over into working with just women, and in the image and appearance side of the image business, but with the same, heart and spirit with the social skills aspect, right?
Mhm.
And so today, really, I feel that the women who hire me today are women who are just like me, who say, Lisa, I want to feel that confidence that when I get up in the morning, I walk into my closet and it serves me. I can pick and choose, and I know what to wear, but most importantly, why. And I have wisdom and I have discernment about this. And so my closet doesn't run my life. I'm not full of worry. I'm full of peace and ease. And not only that, but I can teach it to my children or to my nieces or to whatever. I can teach it around me. So it goes beyond me. It goes generationally.
Yes.
So that is the, if you want to call it ideal client, but that is really who I feel is the type of woman who hires me today, is the woman who has that need.
Right. Oh, Lisa, I love this because the picture I see in my head is like dominoes. And so, you mentoring women, moms who can mentor their daughters, who can mentor their grandmothers. It really is, like you said, intergenerational and makes a difference in the world, and in such a beautiful way. And sometimes, my husband's not the best to ask about style and all that. But when you have nobody else around, the default is your husband, right? And so I'll say, how do I look? And I do love the way my husband answers this, because his default is not always, oh, you look wonderful. It's usually, how do you feel? He usually turns it back on me. And I was thinking about that while you're talking, because it's not always about how we look.
Mhm.
That, I mean, it's great. You want to look put together, you want to look matchy, or, have a statement, but how we feel, how it makes us feel. And I know that's one of your tenets in hearing you, is giving women confidence,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
that's about how we feel, how we're, do we feel empowered? Do we feel confident in our own skin? Anyway, I think that's a beautiful thing, that you're making a difference in the lives of not only women, but families and generations.
Totally, right. Because I feel, and many gals maybe write in the chat what you feel about this. I mean, do you feel that this is a lost art, or where do you go to for your image or appearance questions? Do you know what I mean? Do you have a trusted person or resources? And if you do, share them in the chat. I think that that's so important, to do that, because without it, I feel that we can spin in isolation, and then we have, right, social media that, and then there's this whole new world of influencers, and it's like bombardment. And yeah, so girls, I feel that this is such a great time to just really have that peace and contentment, and then know where we're getting our knowledge and share it. Because if we don't share, right? Like my daughter the other day, we were talking about, she's going to a wedding. She's like, Mom, and she's 27. She goes, Mom, I just, I probably didn't mention it, 10 years ago when I was 17, 18, when you were teaching these things. She goes, but just thank you for helping me know how to dress for my body shape, and she goes, we are so different. Our bodies are completely different as a mother and daughter. And she's like, just thank you, and she's like, I just appreciate it, so I think it's helpful.
That's a huge testimonial, and that's so beautiful, because, we, no matter what body shape is, people still struggle,
We all have
that's the
something.
crazy thing. I have a girlfriend whose daughter, she has twin daughters who are supermodels, and unfortunately they had to go through all that, anorexia and different things because of being in that industry, but they're gorgeous. They're beautiful. They're I think they got started when they're 15 or 17, 16, and very coveted age, right? Before they're 18, the modeling agencies. But I'm thinking, oh my goodness, these girls who are just, they're beautiful, they're perfect, they're wonderful. I mean, it doesn't matter if they're skinny or not, but they're just that age, when you have that innocence and they're just growing up and just coming into their own.
Totally.
And to have people say that, oh, your waist needs to be, 23 or whatever it is, just outrageous. Like they can't even attain that. Anyway, I think there needs to be information for girls and women to help us to be comfortable in our own skin and be able to accept ourselves as who we are, and use the bodies that we have and dress them, like you say, canvas them, like your daughter was sharing, in a way that she could accentuate, her best features and feel good about it.
Yeah, there's a little saying we have in the image strong community, and so this is what we say based on that, what you just mentioned about accentuate. It's accentuate your assets, camouflage your concern areas.
Nice.
And oftentimes when we all have something. That's the thing. We all have something, and some of us, our something is noticeable when we walk in somewhere, when we're doing life, and others are something, might be something that no one else sees, but yet we know, right? And so that's why having some skill sets to where we can get to that point where we're content, where we can take our eyes off of ourselves and then put them on to other people using our God-given gifts, talents, and abilities, right? Versus being so overwhelmed with our thing or our things, and then thinking we're just a freak or we can't do it or whatever those lies want to tell us that we are, right? It's just
Yes.
taking care of those things. And just to be in the spirit of honesty here and just openness. I don't know why, but I feel like sharing this if it's okay. Like
Absolutely.
one of my things is that I started balding when I was in my early 20s and my hair just started falling out. And I started going, oh my gosh, what's happening? Saw all the doctors, did all the things. But today, as a 56-year-old woman, I am probably upwards now of 70% bald.
Mhm.
And so I wear hair, like all of this that you see, like this little bun I put together, this whole thing is like, it is not my hair. And so I had to learn in my 20s how to, like, who to go to,
Mhm.
how to, first of all, even like, where do you go for a consultation for women balding, right? Is that even a
Mhm.
thing? And
Mhm.
then, yes, and then just take the step and
Right.
in it manage my thoughts,
Right.
right?
Your
And
confidence.
right, do all of that and just step into it, step out of the story and the lies and step into, okay, so this is my thing, and get some help, and then develop a level of contentment, and then just get over it. And then use it to go out in the world, right? And use it as part of the story of what I'm up to in life, and choose to put my eyes on what God's given me as to do in the world, and just use it as a thing instead of it causing such, like, to isolate and just think everyone else is better than me. You know what I mean? And just think about your own, everyone on this call, like, what's your thing? Do you know what I mean? We all have it, I would imagine. And sometimes it could be, yes, our what's occurring in our body or our shape, or maybe it's just I don't know what to do. And I tell you, just even last week a client said to me, she goes, Lisa, I had no idea that there's like a system of understanding our shape, what colors to wear that actually flatter our hair, our skin, and our eyes. I didn't know that we can actually have preferences around style. I just thought you walk into a store and you just buy what's on sale, or you just kind of give your life over to the sales associates and they tell you, and then you just come back every month. Like, I didn't know that building our image is a thing. And she was like, I feel so confident and I feel like I'm a different person. And I'm like, praise the Lord, And anyways, I don't know if that helps anyone that's here on the call, just to hear that.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is, the the lie is that it's cookie cutter and one size fits all, and we all look the
Yeah.
same in the same colors and the same styles and shapes and whatever they drum up for the latest, style of the
Mhm.
decade. Um, but the reality is, and I love the way you say this, we're all beautiful, we're all unique, and we need to really understand, like, what color. I mean, I'm a perfect example here. Can I tell my story? Because
Yes.
you'll be able to, attest to this yourselves if, So I was in high school. I never had any, thing with color or whatever. My mom used to wear oranges and yellows and greens and all that kind of stuff. And that was her favorite thing. And they looked really good on her. And our house was kind of decorated in those days in those colors. And so I was in high school, and it was really big to wear browns and orange and yellow and green, just like our homes, and tweeds, like the heavy tweed fabrics. So I'm giving I'm 63, so I'm giving myself away. This was in the 60s, 70s. And it was okay, I just wore what everybody else wore. And then I got this Color Me Beautiful book. And I think Adele Sassoon or something. Anyway, I read it and I was like, wow, I'm a winter, And I actually went to the paint store and matched the color wheel with the paints and made my own little thing to take into the, the store to buy my clothes. And I realized, oh, I'm a winter, so I wear blue reds and navies and, those black and different colors. So then I'd show up at work, and I was working at a bank, and I dared to wear a red dress. And I got more compliments. Everybody was like, oh, you look so good today. Oh, you look so nice. Oh, and I'm like, what did I look like before? I've never gotten compliments like that wearing tweed or browns or, And so I realized that the colors do make a big difference, right? And I was wearing the wrong colors. I was wearing what the style of the day, we wore corduroy pants and tweed jackets, and then the hang 10 shirts and the wallabies. And I mean, that's that junior high school kind of look. Did not do anything for me at all. So once I kind of understood, I hadn't got to the style yet, but the colors, it made a big difference. So that was like 16, 17, 16, 17, I was wearing the browns. So it was more like 17, 18 is when I had my, epiphany revelation that there's certain things look better on me.
Yeah, it's so true. And there's a bunch of comments right now in the chats talking about like different colors that we, like to wear, and then understanding like when you mentioned Cyndi, Color Me Beautiful, that's such a concept of understanding like the different hues that are in our hair and our skin and our eyes. And the idea is behind Color Me Beautiful is wearing, finding the colors that enhance those colors or even intensify those colors versus detracting from those colors. So I love this. I mean, that's a whole conversation right there. But the idea is when getting those compliments, sometimes people will compliment because they like a color. So when you wear it, people might compliment. But when they say, wow, you look amazing, now they're complimenting you. And most likely it's because those colors are enhancing. And when Teresa was, getting ready to launch her book, we talked about like your where you did the book signing, like colors to wear, because Teresa's like, I want to show up. I don't want like my colors to show up first, even like with your photography pictures, to ensure you showed up, Teresa, which that's such a big difference. But yet do we talk about it? And how many pictures of have you seen of professionals where, they look tired or older than they are, right? And you meet people and you're like, oh, I thought I was kind of expecting someone in this picture on your business card, but wow, you look so different in person. Yeah. And so color can actually be a free tool, to use to go, I'm just not going to wear this color. I'm going to wear over here because I want to look more youthful or enhance my, my coloring versus, looking older or tired.
But even though like I identified myself as a winter, I don't like the pastel colors. I don't, they say in the winter, whatever wheel, especially, I don't know if it's changed, but like the light pinks with the frost and the yellow, and I don't like any of those. Yeah, so there's still variations for people, right?
There are, and that would be more of still a cool. You're more of a richer cool. So the winter, where someone who is lighter in tone would be more that pastel frosty, would be more of a cooler summer. They refer to it as in Color Me Beautiful. But yeah, good tools, y'all. These are
yes, for sure. Okay, so you've opened the conversation with Image Strong. So share a little bit more about what is the Image Strong concept?
When I was thinking about this going into the image business and being a wardrobe stylist, I was like, gosh, that just didn't really land for me as much as Image Strong did. So you think about image, and when I think about the word image, I think of being made in God's image, right? That we are one of a kind. We are one of a kind. We are unique and made in our Creator's image. And so to me, that meant we're very specific, right? And so the word image started to really resonate with me. And then how do we see our own image? Do we see ourselves? And then I was remembering my mom as that 8-year-old. And obviously she saw herself with a distorted image, right? Because you looked at her, she was physically like Elizabeth Taylor, but yet how she saw herself was completely different. So I look at image, the word image is more of a physical representation, a physical manifestation. So our image, how do we look at ourselves? And is it more weak? Do we see ourselves from that lens? Or is it kind of sometimes strong, sometimes weak? Or is it over here in the strength? And that strength, I feel, is that word, is that sure-footedness. I feel strong out of a sense of not arrogance, but I feel strong out of a sense of knowledge and wisdom and discernment, right? So
Yeah.
image strong, meaning you could go out in the world today, next week, when it's fall, when it's winter, when it's spring, when it's summer, and then be able to go anywhere in the world. And yes, maybe we don't know how to go into a different country at a moment's notice. We might have to do a little research, but then we have the resources and able to do that. Do you know what I mean? Just so we're not encumbered and hindered to go out in the world, like Teresa going into a prison and doing your prison ministry work. Dude, you're not going to wear a suit and high heels, right? So it's having that wisdom and discernment to go, what am I going to wear? Because I want to be show up as approachable and relevant. So we just need to know what that looks like and what that is. That's image strong to me. Ladies, does that make sense? If that makes sense, would y'all mind to write in the chat? Yes, that makes sense. Or no, could you explain more? And then I can in the chat. And hopefully the listeners, that makes sense. Cyndi, does that make sense to you?
Oh my goodness. Yes. Okay. And so I'm just, while you're talking, I'm just thinking 2 words say so much. Those 2 words are so beautiful and they are strong in and of themselves. I mean, you can embellish them with descriptions and all kinds of stuff like that. But image strong says it all, because the image, is about the physicality of it. But then the strength of it is the emotional piece. And those are both anchored. And I love that what you were saying about Teresa, she has to use wisdom and discernment to know how to dress. Okay, so she can show up in something fancy with heels and stuff, but that's not her goal. Her goal is she wants to connect with those people, right? She wants to be approachable. She wants to be real and relevant. And so all of that comes with the image strong, just the visualization of it and the foundation of it. So I think it's really beautiful. So if I want to see everybody saying relatable. Yes. Okay. So that's great. Everybody, I think that was a good explanation. So last week, when you shared with our Exceptional Connections community, the topic was Start Strong, laying a foundation for how you want to show up in life. And can you speak to the 5 components that you shared with our community? Just kind of, because I think it was a really good overview.
Yes, we did. We talked about 5 very specific things. And this, if you were thinking of an umbrella, if you will, this would be under the umbrella of mindset, awareness, and organization of your thoughts about your image and the components of image before you even buy a darn thing. Okay, so it's like really backing it up. And this is what I wish was taught. I mean, if I was called today to speak in a school, this is what I would talk about. I would have a Start Strong segment. So the Start Strong segment we spoke about at Exceptional Connections was number 1, doing a styling strength assessment. And a styling strength assessment essentially is 11 questions. And it's just grading yourself of no, sometimes, or yes. And then at the end of the quiz, end of the assessment, you can kind of see, are you, gosh, feeling pretty weak? Are you like, I'm doing okay? Or like, I'm exceptionally strong in the area of my style. And gals, if you would like to have a styling strength assessment sent to you, I will do that via email. Just email me and I'll send you the assessment. My email is lisa@lisafisherstyling.com. I'll put it in the chat box here. Lisa at Lisa Fischer, and Fisher is Fischer, then styling.com. So the reason for the assessment is so you can see at the end of 11 very specific questions where you have some awareness of where you're strong and or where you may want to build. So for example, one question is, you know what to wear for your shape, your silhouette, and your body proportions. So again, the choices are no, sometimes, or yes. That's just an example. Second would be, you're able to select colors that complement your hair, your skin, your eyes. No, yes, no, sometimes, or yes. So that's what's on this assessment. And so that is just like step one to begin an awareness about all of the different things that kind of make up ourself and what we do to go out into the world. That's all it is. Okay. Then the second step, which God gave me this vision just a couple of years ago, and I call it the image wheel. The image wheel. And the idea for this wheel is, like with a wheel, there's balance in a perfect circle, right? And think of the wheel on your bike or on your car, that if we get a flat tire, there's some distortion in our wheel. So the wheel no longer rolls down the road, effectively any longer. And I feel like it can be the same in our image wheel. So I'd like to just verbalize the 8 areas of this wheel. And if you like this, a copy of this wheel for your own records, let me know in the email as well. Happy to share this with you. So the 8 pieces of the pie for the image wheel are this. Number 1 is, and this is in no such order, but it's grooming. Okay, so this is the part that make up our image. So grooming, that could be your hair, your makeup, how you just groom your body, to your fragrances, your deodorant, all of those things. Second is styling outfits. And I'll just going to give you these components of the wheel and then talk about how you use this wheel effectively. Thank you, Cyndi, for putting these sections in the chat. Next one is management and resources. That's another slice of the pie. The next is shape, knowing your shape, color, and your style preferences. Next is closet. So it's everything that when you think of your closet, it's, wow, that's how my clothes are, how they look in my closet, how I manage my closet. It's everything to do with your closet. Next is shopping. Next is personal development. So what you do to increase your confidence in the books that you read, the things that you say about yourself, the mindset. And then the last one is your wardrobe and your accessories. So how you use this wheel is, in the middle, you want to consider that this is a number 0, and the outer part of the wheel is a number 10. And you're judging and assessing your level of confidence and contentment of how you feel in a particular area. Maybe even say it's your level of satisfaction. So for example, if I were looking at grooming and I was taking a pen and I was shading in this area and I'm starting at 0 and out here is 10, I might look at my grooming and say, how do I feel in general about my grooming? So that's the kind of skincare I'm using for anti-aging, my makeup, my hair products, all of that, my hairstylist. Am I happy with all of that? I might say, I feel like I'm a 9. So I might shade that area of my wheel to about a 9. But over here in outfit styling, okay, we're going into fall, and I might feel like, man, I don't feel very confident in how to prepare for fall. And oh, by the way, I'm going on this trip in October. I don't really know. And so that might look like, I feel like I'm maybe 3 on a level, and I'm just shading that in. The next one might be management and resources. So it's managing my time, managing when I shop, managing that I know the sales, managing how and when I replace my makeup. How do I feel about that? Oh, I feel 10 on that. So can you see that there's already some disfigurement in my wheel, right? So as you do this shading exercise all the way around the wheel, then you step back from the wheel and you're like, how balanced is my wheel here? And if it kind of goes down the road like kaplunk, 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 now what you've done is you've given yourself some awareness on, there's some areas here that I may want to work on to feel more contentment. And this wheel does not lie, right? I love the wheel. I love it so much. And so I would recommend to do this wheel as part of your quarterly routine or even a monthly routine. It's like a little check-in for self-care. How's my image wheel? How's my balance? And it will speak to you and it will guide you. It could be your own little coach, like a self-coach. I love it. And so the next idea is we talked about is then identify your top 3 areas that are the lowest on your wheel. So identify the top 3. Okay, that's number 3. And then number 4 is take 90 days. Take 90 days to build that area of your image up. So in my example, I said outfit styling was low on my wheel, for an example. So I might say, okay, in the next 90 days, I want to assess my clothing. I might want to block out a couple of hours to put outfits together, take pictures, try them on. Maybe I might want to have a girlfriend come over and help me. Maybe I want to hire Lisa. Do you know what I'm saying? Just like maybe I want to get some magazines out and I want to get inspired. You're taking some time, you're putting it in your calendar, and you're setting a goal over the next 90 days with those top 3 areas. Do you see how this is? Now you're intentionally taking care of yourself. And then the last part that we talked about at the Exceptional Connections meeting was number 5 is creating some I am statements. Okay. And what that really is, ladies, it is noticing your self-talk, especially in those areas you might be low in on your wheel. For example, let's just take my hair. Back to that hair example. That's a big deal for me. Like, to manage my hair, dude, I have to be really on top of it with my appointments with my stylist, because if I miss an appointment with her, it's some wonky times because my hair color changes. And then I have to spend a lot more mental energy. And so I have to be really on top of it. And when I'm not, my attitude can slip. So I have to speak and declare and decree over myself some things. So it's just spending some time and saying, it might even look like this, like, I am content, I am satisfied, and I feel beautiful today. Creating some I am statements for you, whatever that might be for you. A client just last week, she's getting ready to go to Paris. and she feels really disorganized in her travel capsule. So we are creating her travel capsule, but yet she chose to write an I am statement. And she says, and she reads this every day, I am an expert packer. I travel with a carry-on. I have mix and matching pieces that make me feel beautiful. I feel at peace and I feel at ease. And she reads it every day. Amazing. So that's what we talked about, ladies, as far as the start strong, which is do some self-assessing, gather some awareness, create a 90-day goal, and maybe consider getting some support in your 90-day session, and then doing intentional declaring over yourself. So when you wake up in the morning, it's the first thing you read. It's part of your morning routine. It's part of your journaling. It's part of starting your day. Because ladies, if no one else is going to be doing this in our life, so it can be part of self-care of how we start our day.
Lisa, this is beautiful. I love your styling strength assessment paired with your image wheel, because it allows us an opportunity to kind of be still and get real. Like no condemnation, just like the reality. And then with the 90-day goal, to identify those areas where you need, some love. And then with the goals, it empowers us to be able to take action and change things. We don't have to just, go along and put our head in the sand again and forget about it. And then the I am statements are really important. I mean, we know that in the Bible, they talk about the power of I am, it's the most important thing that we say. Our tongue is really the most powerful weapon we have, and we don't want to use it against ourselves. So the I am statements help us to take a stand and visualize, really what we want. It may not be how we feel at that moment, but the more we say it, the more we feel it. Right? That's what I'm getting from what you're sharing.
Yeah, I just feel like it's really true. And another thing is, like, if you have a constant thought that is negative, or it is just not serving you, it's like capture it. It's like capture that thought, right? And
Yes.
then what is the truth you can say over yourself because sometimes people are like, I constantly think, and whatever your personal attack is, right? It's like covering that with your declaration is
Right.
another way to be sure-footed.
Yep.
Because yes, that might be part of your past, or maybe it could be even a reality, but it's how we speak to it. I
Yes.
think because it gives us authority.
Absolutely.
And then that is another way to stand sure-footed. It's like,
Yes.
okay, I have this thing, but how am I going to choose to stand
Right.
can make the total difference.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. In the Bible, it says, take every thought captive and make it obedient to Christ. So taking those thoughts that kind of get planted in our head and aren't serving us, and just identifying those and being able to replace it with something that will serve us and help us to show up as our best selves. So we've gone over a little bit on time, but I'm going to just encourage everyone, feel free to unmute yourself. This is a great opportunity. We can go over a few minutes. Generally, we end right at 1, but because our conversation just was so rich, Lisa, thank you for sharing your tools with us. So feel free to unmute yourself and just raise your hand, very informal here. And it's an opportunity to talk to Lisa and identify some things that she talked about, or something that just came to mind that while we're talking here that you would like her feedback on, or just to enter into our conversation.
Yeah. And this is safe environment,
Yeah, so if there was something that we talked about that you think you're going to be able to implement into your own life, that you had an epiphany or aha about. So Teresa, raise your hand. So feel free to unmute yourself. Love. Oh, I'm sorry, Teresa. I think you'll have to unmute yourself again.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Mm.
yes.
Okay. Love this, Lisa. I've missed this.
Mm.
But what would you recommend for the I am statement? My challenge is that I get up in the morning and I think I have something to do, or I don't have anything important to do. So I end up throwing on old shorts and a t-shirt, run to the store and see 15 people that, and so I guess I'm thinking it'd be great to have an I am statement in the morning that says, this is the day the Lord has made, and I will rejoice. I will show up. My image will be who I am. And so, you have any suggestions?
Yeah, I guess what's coming to me is like, I am authentic. Gosh, Trisha, it can be so many things, but it could be, I am authentic inside and out, and how I adorn myself shows it, or something like that, to where, and again, it's not about the clothing. I so get it. But okay, if you think about it like this way, like I love in Genesis where it talks about, okay, so Adam and Eve clothed themselves, but then when they left the garden, God clothed them. And I'm thinking, I wonder what the difference was. I mean, I imagine Eve putting on the fig leaf and going, Adam, do I look fat in this? Like, does this cover everything? Is this my color? Like, can you just imagine like, da, 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 and I think about like, but when it says like, but God clothed them, and I'm like, oh, that is good. And so Teresa, I think it's maybe spending some time of like, so how do I want to show up? Because we've been in Zoom land for so long with COVID. So we're kind of used to like business on top, party on the bottom, of like, I'm just going to wear shorts and sweats and my flip flops and my cozies. But how many times have we seen or heard that that's backfired on us, where someone's had to get up and we're like, oh, didn't mean to show that. And so this casualization can kind of start coming in, and then we're all of a sudden we're living it. I mean, I was at the movies the other day and people walked in with their pajamas on, and I was like, oh, is that where our society is going, that we're wearing our pajamas to the store and I mean, literally they were in their flannel pajamas and flip-flop and fuzzy slippers. And I was like, okay. Okay. And I don't say that in a position of judging. I'm just like, interesting. Okay. This. So how do I want to play? And how do I want to participate? And Teresa, honey, I feel like it is something where maybe spend some time with yourself and get clear on what is that for you, and what do you feel like the Holy Spirit is saying to you, and then just move in that.
I also think a tangible step for me, because I am as visual as I am, is it would not hurt to actually say in my closet, how do you want to show up today?
Yes.
High five. Visual cue as I'm grabbing this and that. Yeah. Thank you.
You are so welcome. And I won't say that I'm gonna be super honest with you. I thought about it today. I was like, do I want to just wear my shorts, wear my pajamas? But dude, like I even put on my heels today. I'm showing up in business dress today because I want to feel it. I want to feel the vibe. I want to do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And you're reminding me too of the 3-word system that you have, and what my words were. My words were authentic, approachable, and strong. Those were my words. So I'm being reminded of that.
Cyndi, do you mind if Teresa expands on this? So Teresa, what do you mean?
No, but those are beautiful, because I was just going to say approachable and strong. They go beautifully together, but you would think they would short circus each other. You know what I mean?
No, well, after working with Lisa and feeling a little bit more authentic, my word about how I feel when you talk about walking into a room and you're feeling, how do you feel? I feel sassy. I feel sassy because I'm kind of silly and, that kind of thing anyway. But I can be serious for sure, but
I
I feel
got this-
sassy.
I
I feel
got this
sassy.
from
My
a-
shoulders. Oh yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, a workshop I did with Lisa. And
Yes.
so I just keep it in my desk here. My style statement is approachable, authentic, and sophisticated.
Mhm.
Is what I put.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Right
So
there at
maybe
my
getting the
desk,
visual
Lisa.
cues back up might help me.
I love that, Teresa. Thank you so much for sharing that. Love it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Anyone else have? Hi,
Heather, feel free to unmute yourself. We'd love to be able to hear your comments. And so let's see, we got some comments in the chat box. Amy said, have a go-to outfit that you always look good in. Yeah, I like to do that, especially. And then Nancy actually does, you'll have to correct me, Nancy, if I'm calling it wrong. She does, she works for some of the vendors at Costco. So she was commenting on the pajamas. So she sees stuff like that all day long.
All day long.
All day long.
All
And
day
then
long.
Heather was saying, I hope there's a replay available. Yes, there is. There is a replay available. And I'll get the link to Lisa so she can share that with her community. So who's this now? Somebody has a fun story. Is that Amy? You want to unmute yourself and share that, Amy?
So Monday, my youngest son is doing errands with me, and he likes to dress up. And I mean, dress up. He put on a button-up shirt, a bow tie, a suit jacket,
So cute.
and went to Costco with me like that and got so many compliments. He was adorable.
I love
Wow.
it.
So, it would be so fun, Amy, to say, okay, so what would be your 3 words of how you want to show up? You know what I mean? And see what he says. See what he says.
He likes to look cute. He likes to look cute. But I pointed it out to my husband too, about how differently he was treated at going out looking like that versus going out looking like a grubby kid. We went shopping on Sunday, after we picked him up from a sleepover, and he was still in his pajamas, and he wouldn't get out of the car to go into the store because he was in his pajamas. And we don't leave the house in our pajamas. So.
Yeah, it's really
That's
good.
a great story. I love it. Just out of curiosity, does your husband wear a tie?
No, but if we're going, if he's not in his work uniform, he does wear like button-up shirts a lot. Not ties, but button-up shirts and tucked in belt, all that stuff.
So cute. I love it. That's
Yeah,
a great
very
story.
fun.
Yeah, love it. So did anyone have, when we were talking about the wheel, and I know Cyndi put those 8 sections of the wheel here in the chat, or as you heard them, was there any area you felt like, oh, I could use some help in, or some support, or that you felt that you're like, okay, I'm going to work on this area? Was there any area that any of you gals would feel free to feel comfortable to share? Maybe unmute and share with us.
Teresa?
It's the one I'm looking at my notes here and I don't see the language, but it was the creating the outfits is definitely, I have bottoms I love, I have tops I love. Putting it together is not my strong suit.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Very good. So good, Teresa.
So
Who else feels the same way? Can you get a raise of hands what Teresa is saying? Amy says putting together outfits too. Anyone else, or putting it in the chat box? Okay. Anyone have something different? Heather, how about you? Was there, I don't know if you were here, hon. Did you hear the wheel?
I wasn't here for that part. Sorry.
That's okay.
I had to go do something else when I intended to listen to you.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here.
I'm glad you sent out the email.
What a blessing, friend.
So I want to make sure we have time to share with you ladies something that Lisa and I cooked up, and we shared it with our Exceptional Connections community. And we want to make it available to you. So just give me a second here. I think what I'm gonna do is stop the recording here. Just give me a second.
Cyndi, do you have the link available now so we can go into